So the questions that I had were about tools such as Sonable's True Balance and Isotopes In Balance, where you have the wave that you're trying to match to. And those things, it seems like they were intended to be for mastering.
Hmm.
And what is your opinion on using those in the mix context?
Hmm.
Are they, do you think they're helpful at all, or is it just going to make you feel bad about what you're trying to do?
Well, there's no. I mean, hopefully not. Uh,
Here, Gabe,
I
think on that for a second. Let me
yeah
first show people what we're talking about here.
yeah.
So, tonal balance is a tonal balance control is a plugin by Isotope, and you can see here that it's got the low mid, high mid, and a high band, and then a range of where the energy within that band lies within, I think, a specific genre. Yeah, like they've got rock selected right
Hmm.
here. You can also view it in a different format, but the idea being that it analyzes a bunch of different music pieces from a specific genre, and then you can use that as a reference to see how your rock song lines up compared to other rock songs. Am I getting that right?
And you can give it your own reference mixes
Nice.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
But so the problem, I think it was Paul Third who said something about this. Said the problem is you're trying to match your mix against professional mixes that have been
Hmm.
mastered,
Hmm.
and so give yourself a little bit of slack. Take it with a grain of salt.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting point.
yeah. I would. I think that's pretty on point. I mean, I opinions are hard. When I'm asked for my opinion, I always feel a little scared to give it because I don't. I arrive at these things from my own experience, and I have my own feelings based upon how I work and what I need and what I think is good and healthy. But I also I'm constantly having to check that with like, okay, that's just my. I just want to preface this by saying this is just my opinion. It's not necessarily the right answer to this question, because there are certainly people who find more success with it than I do. But I don't. Yeah, I don't think I would put a whole lot of stake in that those claims, other than to help you get maybe navigate into a ballpark. I use a product called Metric AB that is what's Adapter Audio, I think is the company that makes it, and it comes in the Plugin Alliance bundle. And I also use Streamliner, but Metric AB is what I use more often than not, and that is a plugin that you put on your master bus, and it has 12 slots for you to load 12 different reference files into audio reference files. And during any point in your mix, you can click on any one of those files and just hit the A/B button, and it switches your mix from playing back your mix to whatever file that is, right? And so you can what it allows me to do is I can see if what I'm mixing sounds similar to other things that I've either mixed in the same album. So if I'm doing a whole album project, as I'm exporting my mixes, I can put them in, like, say, the last six bank, and uh, the um, the first six will be external references. So those would be mastered tracks. So like if I'm doing a metal band, I'll put like six metal records that the client has identified as being influential to them or related to the record they're making. And then I can click back and forth in real time to see, okay, am I mating this? Is my kick drum sound sort of in the ballpark between these six? And it's an instant flip in my monitors. So I don't have to worry about, like, it's like hitting the solo button, but I'm soloing, uh, the mix that somebody else's mix and then my own immediately, so I can hear that's really when you hear the differences the best, is in those moments of immediate change. And then I also will keep the last six records tracks in the record I've mixed, if I have that many, just to see, like, is this mix similar to the other mixes I have already done, or am I kind of moving in a new direction? And then the Streamliner plugin is what Kyle threw up there, and that's really the second part of that chain. and I use that to just check out like where my levels are for different playback formats. So like if I'm going to be, it'll tell me if my levels and my mix are matching like what Spotify would want or Apple Music would want. But most importantly, it actually simulates the codec that they use for those streaming platforms. So I can hear what it would sound like with that codec applied, and I can make subtle changes to my mix to anticipate that if I know that's what the final outcome's going to be. But these tools have more forensics in them that allow me to see more ballistics, like what is my mix doing, how is it performing, and I can run those same ballistics on my reference tracks so I can see the differences, and use empirical numbers because I just want to think more about it. AI can do those things, but I just don't believe in outsourcing my musicality. I come from the perspective, calling me snobby if I may, if come across that way, but that musicianship is the most important thing, and if you outsource that to AI, you really aren't developing your own musicianship anymore. There's nothing really in there that's musical, and that's a cynic's perspective, and I'm prefacing that again by saying like it's my opinion, and I don't mean to offend anybody if they use it differently, and I don't want to suggest that people that do use this tool aren't musicians. The way I engage with my musicality is by, using my ears and trying to make these initial immediate changes so that I can hear when I flip from this mix to this mix, what do I hear is different? What's the delta? Like that, and use my gut, my musical intuition to tell me, does this feel good or am I missing something? And, you have to do your homework. You have to listen to the genre that you're going to be working in. You can't, just go in blind and reinvent the wheel. So maybe it's good if I were to give it a positive, it's probably good for giving you some pointers on how to start. But I don't know about relying on it at the end. Is that helpful, Ed?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the school. I'm trying to become better at what I'm doing, and I don't want to offload that to AI. I was a math professor for 40 years,
Oh, wow.
and one of my pet peeves is giving children calculators in kindergarten. They never learn how to work
Right,
fractions, and then they're in the university and they can't manipulate,
right,
do basic
right.
arithmetic. So to me, it's the same thing. I don't think I've earned the right to use the tool yet. I don't want to offload my
Yeah.
thinking to it and hamper my abilities. Okay, I was trying to decide, should I spend this $90 or
Yeah.
not? And I was leaning towards
Yeah.
no,
No,
and I think you helped push me over the edge on
the
that
fun
one.
paradox in that, right, is that like, and what you just mentioned, which I think is beautiful, is that like a calculator, yeah, you don't want to learn, you want to learn how to do it on your own. But of course, then by the time you've developed your ear to the point where you don't need it anymore, like then you don't need it anymore. Like you
Yeah.
also don't need it. So, I think it's a great way to start.
Okay, because I think you did convince me. I'm in the last mix session to use split
Hmm.
EQ
Right.
to look at that one, and that's considerably more expensive. So I think I know, I think I will spend my money on that, even though it is AI working in the background. But it's such a, it looks like that's a tool worth having, even at my intermediate
Yeah.
ability. All right. Well, thank you so
Good
much.
question.
Appreciate it.
Good question, Ed. Thanks.